And we have Sabrina, whose last name I never remember. Fill in your Hosmer. I should remember that name. That's a well-known name. Janine Canadia, Ray Fricano, and Jane Freed, and Katie Bell in attendance as counsel to the group. Okay. And we have no guests. And we don't have Margaret Chady, who we desperately need. So I hope she comes. I don't know. Has she said anything to you about coming or not coming? No, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how she does her life, so I don't know if she's coming or not. Okay, the next agenda item is approval of the minutes from the meeting of the last meeting. I don't have a date on this thing. September 13th. Well, somebody have people read the minutes? I did read the minutes in a very responsible manner. Would somebody please move to accept the minutes?
Okay,
Okay, Sabrina moves to accept the minutes. Katie, I'll get to you in a second. Who will second that?
I will.
Ray will second that. Okay, comments. Katie, have you got something to say about the minutes? No, you just happen to twitch? Okay. All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Okay, minutes are accepted. Now I have to get the agenda up here. Let me, that I was so smart, I didn't print the agenda. Okay. Old business. Okay, affordable housing check-in. Ray, can you just sort of do that for us?
Yes, I can. So I've made contact with the housing office and made myself available as a liaison to this committee. I told you that during the summer I would look over like the general housing program because I had some information.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a standard low income, low middle income program with income limits that are, I would say, pretty, they're established by law or by regulation. They're pretty healthy. I think the log jam is probably just the number of units that are available, and that's a subject. That's a function of just construction. But there are opportunities. People can apply. The website is wide open and encouraging for that to happen. All the proper notices, which I would expect. I didn't expect anything different. And all the proper notices for fair housing and whatnot are there. So people are fully aware that, if somebody's looking for a housing in the town of Mansfield and feel disenfranchised, I think they have, the opportunity to get relief. I also looked into this fair housing, the Fair Rent Commission.
Mhm.
I've seen the public notice, but I haven't seen anything else yet. It was supposed to be published in chapter 18 of the code, but that's not online yet. So it's probably coming. So I don't have the ordinance itself. I'll just say, just my opinion based on my past experience with law and stuff. The level in the charter says, that the rent, what does it say? I'll read it exactly. They're charged with holding hearings and making decisions in response to tenant complaints of residential rental charges so excessive with due regard to all circumstances as to be harsh and unconscionable. Harsh and unconscionable is an extremely high bar. I mean, they'll have to work that out. I don't know if that's actually going to be in the ordinance itself, but harsh and unconscionable is pretty high. Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Katie. What would you like to say? Excuse me, Monica.
I can send that to you, Ray. I have the charge here, so I will
Okay.
mail that to you. Yeah, we did, the council appointed, and I sent out the letters, so I know. A realtor and a member from the Mansfield Human Services Advisory Committee and a member from the Mansfield Commission on Aging. So they're still looking for a landlord and a tenant representative.
Okay. Is there an actual ordinance though? Like, is there a document?
Yep, so chapter 18 Fair Rent Commission ordinance is what was approved by council a while ago. I don't actually know the exact date. It doesn't say it on this document.
Yeah, it was something about it was had to be published and all that, and then you had a 21-day waiting period and all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe that that has all happened, to my knowledge. So I can definitely send this to you though.
Okay,
I'll shoot the email out now.
thank you.
Okay, now Ray, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is all public information, but how are they publicizing it to the people who need to know about it? Do you have any idea?
More than the website, I would not give much. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to the senior center. I don't know if there's anything there.
Okay,
that
I'm
would be-
going there tomorrow. I will ask.
Yeah, just look around, see, there should be something about it.
Okay.
I guess the other place would be like the library. I guess if I can, I'll ask my wife to do that.
Yeah, just, I mean, ask whoever's in charge, how are you publicizing this besides putting it on the website? And is this affordable housing for everybody or is it just for seniors?
It's an income, there's different categories. It's any kind of affordable housing is, always income driven.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, there are family units, there are other units. There's some specifically set aside for families. There's others that have different categories. And that's all listed out in their documentation. The thing with affordable housing is that it always comes back to money. It's not, you don't build cheap housing, like, you don't go to a town and build like a cheap apartment building. You build a nice, something that fits the town's character. And then
Right,
the affordable comes in by somebody subsidizing the rents. And that's where affordable housing comes from. So, and that's an expensive thing, because once if I build 12 units in Mansfield and the town decides they want to subsidize that housing, that's a huge commitment for the rest of the time to subsidize rents, because market rents, I mean, this is an expensive town to live in.
Right.
And subsidies are always based on market rents versus an income calculation, and those formulas are, regulated. So, I'm sure that market rents in Mansfield are probably the highest in the eastern part of the state.
they are, and that's the essence of this problem when it comes to human rights.
Right.
Because people want their kids in our schools and they can't afford to live here. That's what it comes down to.
You need somebody to come in. I mean, like I said, I've done this all over the country. You need the town needs, if they're really up for this, they need a contractor that comes from a nonprofit that wants to build an affordable housing units because that's their mission.
Okay,
And those are hard to find now. The political climate, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, there was a huge push for that kind of a thing, but there's not as many people around. Our present political climate doesn't have the same interests, I would say, for that.
Right.
We're a little more hard-hearted. So whether they would want to go out and solicit, I don't think they'd want to do that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the town's place to go out and solicit more people to do more development.
well, I think they have tried, and I think what they're doing right now is putting together a trust fund. And they have a trust fund. Whether or not it isn't anything like what they need, but that's what
No.
they have.
The trust fund, the way I understand the trust fund is it enables them to, they donate the money to the town, and then they're released from the obligation to do so many units.
Right.
And I don't know. That's a political, that's something
I was
more
going to say, it
political.
seems so complicated that it makes you wonder if they're ever going to be able to be successful. Because it doesn't appeal to anybody's motivation who's in it for profit, which is what most people are in for when you get to construction.
Yeah, there's generally three types of people that go into this. There is a limited profit, or there's some nonprofits, there is limited profits that do it for a limited basis, and then there's people who do it for profit. But the limited profits and the nonprofits really are, like I say, few and far between.
Yeah. Okay, well, our job right now is just to keep keep track of it and try to figure out what's going on. And what you said just informed me about 100% more than I knew before.
And I'll continue to attend, I'll attend meetings. I gotta meet with the people, I want to eventually get to meet them face to face, when I get out of school. So, I'll keep on like rummaging around and seeing what I can, because I understand the problem. But I think the biggest problem is market rents. The market rents in Mansfield are just very high. And, that's like a fact of life. You
Yep.
can't change that. And,
Yep.
and a tenant, landlord, I guess from a moral state, a landlord's entitled to get a market rent. I mean, that's. Now,
Yeah,
hopefully some of this other stuff that's been put into place will maybe put a lid on those market rents, and maybe they won't inflate quite as much or whatever, but it's a really tough nut to crack. Affordable housing sounds like a great thing when you say it, but it's really much more involved than, what the entitled, it sounds good, but it's a big mud bath when you get
yeah. Well,
involved.
anytime you get money motivation in the middle of it, human welfare seems to take a second seat, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for telling us. Does anybody have any other questions you want to ask, Ray? Since most of us don't know a thing about this and we're supposed to. Okay. Member reports. What have we got? Can we first talk about what we did last Saturday and then any other things that people are doing?
I think
Monica?
we're on community conversations. aren't
Oh, we are. Okay,
Yeah.
my mistake.
Yep.
Okay, well, here's my first report on community conversations. Janine and I were talking about this a little bit before. I have made 3 attempts to contact the Mansfield the elementary school to talk about doing our little story hour. I have turned in all the paperwork, I have written the letter, and I have talked to Peter Dart. I have gotten no response from anybody. I have called the secretaries to whom I handed the paper twice. They informed me that Kelly Young grants all facilities approval and that the request for facilities approval is on Katie's desk. And so I knew that they were off Monday and Tuesday, and I thought maybe I'd hear back on Wednesday that we'd been approved. I didn't hear a thing. And so I kind of don't know what's going on. But in the meanwhile, I was in the therapy pool and I ran into a retired kindergarten teacher. Really a good thing to do. And she told me all about all the wonderful things they're already doing at the elementary school. And there is a woman there who teaches social studies. Gen Z, I think is her name, Janine, if that sounds familiar to you. And she said, Gen Z is a really wonderful person, and you really need to talk to her because if she decides something is important, it will happen. So I climbed out of the therapy pool, went home, wrote down all the names, gave the woman my card. And again, she hasn't contacted me, but anyway, I have some good information. And it made me rethink the program. Because the one thing we don't want to do is go in there like we're doing something that they never thought of.
Right.
Even though I think this is a really good idea. So part of me is wondering if we should just say, we're postponing this till, we originally didn't want to do it in the elementary school. We want to do it in the library so that anybody who wanted to come could. And then the librarian is on maternity leave. So we tried the middle school, but I'm beginning to wonder if we should try to go back to maybe February or January and go back to the library and not bother with the middle school and spend some time finding out what they're doing, or elementary school, spend some time finding out what they're doing with the elementary school kids that supports this effort. And Janine, you are the expert on this subject. So what do you think?
All right, it's Jen Sucrazzo, and she is the Spanish teacher
Oh, okay.
there. And not so much social studies, but
Okay.
I know where you could get that information from. And I spoke with her at the Celebrate Mansfield, and she wanted to give me an update on what they were doing last year. Last year in the elementary schools, they were doing morning announcements, but it was getting so much and they needed to add, filler time. And that's when I said to the principal, hey, can I help out? Can we spotlight, each month, like Indigenous People Day, American Indian, Native American, Women's History Month. So with that, I helped integrate that into their morning announcements. What they've done with it now, it has now evolved into an actual class specifically for fourth graders where they go in and they'll help with research on a whole variety of things of different people, kind of like what we were doing last year, but evolving it a little bit more. But it's the fourth graders that are getting involved. Now, what they do is the kids in fourth grade, they rotate the different fourth grade classes, and they will be the quote unquote news people doing it. It's like a whole production. It's awesome to see. I think we tried one time, a couple times, Jane, try to send it to you what we had done last year. But it's evolved, she said. So it's like actually a fourth grade class because they lost an art teacher and a music teacher, and they had to eat up some extra time. So they've been utilizing that time to do that. So it has evolved. As far as postponing it, actually, I was thinking about that today because I was getting a little frustrated. We did hand the paper in, or you handed the paper in and
You
everything.
have to hand
and-
it in 2 weeks before the date. We handed in a month before the date, and Margaret is
Right.
asking me now, what are you doing? Give me the flyer, because if we're going to publicize it, we need to do it now. And then I had,
Exactly. And that's where I was getting a little frustrated, like, again, something being put on the back burner. So I'm like, you know what? I'll present it, tonight. Why don't we postpone it? Do it at the library.
that's what I think.
And, I can contact Carolyn. I can send her an email. Actually, I'll also be seeing her this week, and I'm going to, it was one of those, community center things that you can sign up for, and it was looking at the Stearns Farm or something.
Oh,
It's from
nice.
10 to 12 on Saturday, like the history about the whole thing. So I'll send her an email, but I'll touch base with her hopefully on Saturday and just say, sorry for the confusion. Do you have any weekend available times? And then I will, I'll January, February, what are you looking for?
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, I'll ask her then to
Okay.
do that.
And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be weekend, although I think if it's in the library, Saturday morning would be ideal.
Okay,
So just find out, let me know, and I'll get in touch with this Kelly Young person and tell her we're withdrawing our request.
okay.
Okay, and
Right, Kelly Young, she is over at the middle school, but if you just send her an email, that's fine. And yeah, the Jen Zuccarazzo, it's Zuggarro. She is the Spanish and ESL teacher. She's the one that not necessarily social studies, but what they've been doing was encouraging, looking about different countries, looking about different cultures, and they're incorporating it into the morning meeting announcements. And that lasts maybe about anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. So, and that runs through everything, pre-K through fourth grade. So everyone is seeing that.
do we need to touch base with her before we do this at the library? Can we just go ahead as an independent thing for anybody who's interested? Oh, thanks, Sabrina.
Yeah, that's it.
Zuccarazzo.
Zuccarazzo.
A-U-G. That's quite a name. I wonder what it means.
So I believe for the library, online on the library's website, there's a Bradley Buchanan Auditorium request if that's where you're looking to hold it. And then they just review that in their internal process. They do have other spaces that potentially are available if you're looking for kind of like a more child-focused area, because they do have like the kids' room.
Yeah,
but
that's the one
don't
I
think
was
it's a-
hoping to use.
I don't think that's a sign outable one on the website, so you would have to call
Yeah.
over to the library and ask what the process would be for that. I know, like you had mentioned, one of the children's librarians is on maternity, but they do have someone else who's there because they had hired, 2 people.
No, they told me there wouldn't be anybody else and they had decided to wait because it was just too much to ask the substitute, and which is fine, I understand. So I think maybe, let's drop back a little bit, but I would like to talk to Jen and just find out what's going on, see her take on it and ask her what she thinks would be useful. Because one of the things I've learned from this is don't jump in until you find out what's already there. Good lesson to learn. Okay. All right.
But I don't think what we're trying to present, I don't think it would, from what they're doing and what Carolyn Stearns is proposing to do,
Different. It's completely different.
completely different.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think it will be a courtesy that makes people feel good. And since I'm not involved in any other way, I can make people feel good and you don't have to worry about it. Oh my. Okay, I got one more announcement thing. So I've been working on this interfaith dialogue for December, and I found the Muslim Association of Connecticut. They have a whole speakers bureau. They can get us anybody we want whenever we want. So that was easy. I met the new pastor in the Congregational Church with the big steeple, and she seems delightful, and I think I can probably snag her. And then I met with my friend Lois Hoppy, who is a retired congregational equivalent of a bishop. And I found out there's another rat's nest, because there was the Wyndham Interfaith Area group that went on for quite some time and did a lot of good things. And she said, if I were you, before I tried to set up anything, I would talk to the woman who organized that, because she will get very offended if she thinks you're trying to redo something she's already done. But I'm not. What we're trying to do is to set up opportunities for people to talk about differences, a whole range of them, one of which happens to be religion. So I am still working on that. Barbara said she wanted to work on it when she got back, which is next week. And my friend Lois is helping me, and she knows all the clergy in town. So I feel like I've got support. And I need to just talk to Sheila Amder and find out what she thinks is appropriate so that I don't offend her and screw up everything. And of course, the fact that she's the president of the Willimantic Synagogue and there's a war going on in Israel is not making it any easier, but I will get her and I will talk to her. So that's how the progress I'm making with that. And I am determined to do this now more than ever, for people of the monotheistic religions to talk to each other about what really matters to them. So I'm still working on that. Okay, so, and we haven't, the only other idea in the hopper at the moment is this conversation on healing from racism that they're doing at the senior center. And it's going very well from what I gather, in a very small group, but I've talked to Jamil about doing it again under our sponsorship sometime in the spring, and she seemed pretty willing to do that. So I think we've got a racism thing that we can do, which pleases me no end. So I think we've got enough community conversations to keep us going for the rest of the year, and I'm delighted about that. Katie, at some point we need to do the PFLAG one. And so maybe that's April, May, I don't know when, maybe next year, but I think that needs to happen too. So that's where I am with all of our little community conversations. Anybody else's ideas, thoughts? I'm meeting a lot of really interesting people, and there is no end to the value of going in the therapy pool and staying there a while. You just never know who you're going to run into.
I agree with that for sure.
This
Also,
lady said to me, I'm a retired kindergarten teacher and I know all about what's going on in the elementary school. I said, oh, good, talk to me. And so we stood there and did our little workout.
Who
So
was the teacher?
I wish I could remember. I wrote it down, but I don't have it down here.
I read an article about the Congregational Church minister. I think it was in
Yeah, I
Mansfield
read it too,
Connections.
and that's why I tried to get in touch with her. She said she was at the Celebrate Mansfield thing and gave me her card, and I just quote unquote synchronistically ran into her, and I was very delighted about that. Seemed like a nice person. Okay, other things about community conversations? Anything? Okay.
I guess something,
Ray, what?
well, just something I'm doing, I guess, I don't know if this fits or not.
The member report.
All right. Is that, all right, I can do that then.
Okay,
Tomorrow
good.
night, I registered for this, and I should have probably been more proactive, but PFLAG is doing an educational thing tomorrow night. It's called United Against Hate. It's about identifying, reporting, and preventing hate crimes. The FBI is going to be there, state police and Homeland Security. It's kind of a really, seems like a pretty good thing. It's at the United Congregational Church of Thailand, and you had to register through them. So I am going to attend that. So I will definitely have something about that to report on that when I come back after I take the class or go to the seminar.
That sounds wonderful. I don't know if you all realize, it's a parenthetical comment. Do you know who the Republicans nominated to be Speaker of the House? A man who describes himself as David Duke without the baggage. You know who David Duke was? He's a basic American Nazi, and he's running for Speaker of the House. So PFLAG is very important, and so are all these other things, because God knows only what's going to happen. Okay. Now, the next thing seems frivolous, but it occurred to me. In the context of how did we do at the Mansfield, Celebrate Mansfield thing, Ray said to me, we need name tags because PFLAG has name tags. And at the same time, I was getting new business cards because I've decided to change my career again. And having become old, I have new ideas. So anyway, it occurred to me that maybe it would be nice if we had T-shirts or hats or something like that. And I looked at them with a new icon on it and the Mansfield logo, and they cost $15 to $20 a piece. And if it's only 5 of us, I think I could squeeze it out of the town, or we could buy them ourselves. And I would have to talk to Margaret, because if we use Vistaprint, they let you design your own, but there's a whole bunch of other local people that also do T-shirts and hats. So probably it's better to do it locally than bother with a national thing. But what do you think about that? You want some way to identify yourself at events where it's good to tell people you're there? What do you think? Unmute yourself, Sabrina.
Oh, I think it'd be nice to have the logo that we all voted on our shirt some way and just get the word out.
Well, I think we're in a phase of getting the word out, and it's going to be a process, but I think we need to let people know we're here. So you like T-shirts. What does anybody else think?
I'm always up for a T-shirt or a hat, but if I was attending a meeting in December and, at a church or anywhere, and I wanted to represent this committee, a name tag or something would be more appropriate than me wearing a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? I think we could do both or whatever, but it just seems every time I go to a meeting, there's always people that are wearing name tags. And
Katie, do you know anybody who makes name tags around here?
I don't.
Katie doesn't know. All right. Well, this is Margaret's department, and I will ask Margaret. Monica, you have anything to say about people who make name tags? No. Okay. I'll talk to Margaret about it. And because I think we gave away almost all the buttons. The next time we do those buttons, I want to put the happy to say hello thing on the bottom, because in the beginning, I didn't think there was room, but as I looked at it, there is room. And so I'd like to get maybe 100 more of those and then put that as the icon and then the logo and get us a little name tag so that we can wear it in all official events and see where we go with that. And I think we can do all of that for $120, maybe less.
Sure, yeah.
And I think we have that much money. Janine, you look thoughtful. What are you thinking about? Unmute.
And
I want a hat. That's what I want, but that's just me personally.
no, I was thinking the same thing, watching people walk around, that we need to have something that identifies ourselves, whether it be a shirt or the name tag or a lanyard that has those infamous plastic things that you could stick your name thing or whatever, something that they could, identify, what's set around your neck or whatever. So, definitely something to help introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I will follow up with Margaret and see what she thinks. Can we have a little bit of conversation about people's experience about Celebrate Mansfield, since we were the people who are here are the people who were there. Thoughts?
I'll jump in.
Okay.
I've lived here for 42 years, and I regret to say that I've only attended maybe one or two, like 30 years ago. So I was just blown away by the attendance. It's such an opportunity for us. And I mean, I spoke to so many people. You know, I know a lot of people in town, obviously, but you know, a lot of people that I didn't know, they came up and spoke to me. And you know, I was touched by the name, people writing their, how they say hello. That was just touching, and there was so many.
That was the most successful thing we did, and it was a piece of cardboard and magic markers. Kids loved it. The
Kids loved it,
parents
and parents,
pointing out the alphabet to the different languages, they loved it. It was wonderful.
and I think that, you know, the parents, you know, the kids would be writing it, I'd be talking to the parents, and they were just, it was just so inclusive. I mean, just, it's such a simple thing, and it was just inclusive, and that's what you want, just people to feel that they're a part of this community, and I just felt like we did that, and you know, I already, you know, I'm already looking forward to it next year. We'll do more, bigger and better. Because now that I've done it, now I have ideas. Now I know what it is.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that, I
well-
feel like this was my year to have ideas because now I know what it is. Last year I didn't have any idea what it was. But I was delighted, and I have figured out a question to ask people. There's all these teenagers wandering by, and I just went up to them and I said, do you know what your human rights are? And there was either nothing,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that gave me a chance to say that's your American rights, not your human rights. And then it gave me a chance to talk to them a little bit about what human rights are. And they were rather surprised. That's the best way I can put it. So it was an easy way to start a conversation. Talked to a lot of kids that way, and it was fun.
It was interesting to see when people would write their hello down, um, taking pride in who and what they are, where sometimes people are not ashamed, but they shy away from saying, you know, what kind of language that they have. So it was interesting to see them perk up a little bit. And then we would show them the map, you know, okay, where is this on the map? You know, and with the little kids, yeah, I don't know where that is. Well, it's in Europe, you know, trying to egg them on a little bit. Well, where's that? I'm like, okay, here we go. So it was an
And
educational
people had
experience
to
for
pick them
them.
up because they weren't big enough to find the
Yeah.
place. I got the biggest kick out of those kids. Janine knows every small person in Mansfield and their parents. So that was good too. And I want to thank you all for showing up. Katie, thank you for lending us the tent. I was just terrified that we were going to stand there with a naked table and not know what to do. And please thank Ravine for sitting there suffering the way he did. But everybody helped. And there were lots of volunteers, and I stopped worrying about 2 minutes after I got there. So I think it really went very well. I was really pleased. And now we've got everything we need for next year, except having to borrow a tent again. Where'd you get that rainbow tent? That was really cool.
The rainbow tent is actually pea flags.
Pea
We
flags.
were in a blue one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I just really like that one.
I do too. I want it.
Don't steal it. Not nice. No.
I could ask Lisa. Lisa will know. Lisa and I are buds. We're good.
Yeah, that's good. That it was, yeah. I met two parents. One woman who's a lawyer and getting a master's degree in social justice, and she is running a story hour in the Willimantic Library. And I said, please get in touch with me because I would like us to collaborate. She said she would. Who knows if she will. Then I met two kids at UConn, from UConn, who were majoring in social justice. One of them said, I want to join. I gave her my card. And the other one was the set of parents, and they said, our daughter wants to join, and I gave her my card. So we may get some more people who show up from that there. And they, I mean, and I said to them, what are you going to do when you graduate? And one of them wants to work with human trafficking. And the social justice lawyer didn't say exactly what she was going to do, but she's obviously arming herself for a lot of skills to be able to go. And she was Indian, I think. She wasn't American. Or anyway, she didn't look like a white person. And was clearly trying to crank up to make the world a better place. And that's what they all were doing. And that's who we want to appeal to. So it was nice to meet all these people. Katie, go ahead. You're just scratching your face.
Me?
Okay.
Mom.
Why am I calling you Katie? I don't know. It's because you're young and I'm old. That's okay. Talk.
So I was wondering if it would be beneficial for you if I created like maybe a little like small, not business card size, but somewhere around that, document showing people how to apply. Maybe if they know the website and know where to do things, then, you know, you can give that out to them and they might feel more comfortable just applying. I don't know. But maybe,
Anything like that, anything, because I think the biggest problem is communicating with people who don't have any idea, and everybody is not computer literate, and people don't go searching through the town website to find us, so we have to find other ways to get out in public. Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
I know like they get kind of grumpy about handing out paper, so you could also do like a QR code and just put that like in a stand, and so they could just with their phone use this, scan the QR code and go right to the webpage for how to apply.
Okay, Monica, I have a couple of those, what do you call them, Lucite stands, and if you want to do a QR code that takes people to the website or takes people the application, I will donate one of my Lucite stands to the front desk at the town hall. And you can just put the icon and the town logo on if you are interested in joining this, because people, when it comes to town clerk, people are in there constantly because that's where everybody pays their taxes and dog licenses and all that kind of stuff. That would be a good place. So if we did something like that there, and we did something like that in the senior center. The community center is very picky about what they let people know about, but those other two places are much more open. Okay, moving right along. Anything else about shirts? I will explore name tags. I just picked up the wrong agenda.
For the shirts, were you guys looking for the rainbow coloration, or were you looking for like a black and white version of it? Because I know
I
there's a
think
lot of
what
colors.
we're looking for right now is name tags and not shirts. We'll do
Got
it
it.
one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Although anything with the rainbow on it that you want to give me, I'll be happy to have and pay for. Oh, now the last thing, pamphlet creation. So I was talking to my friend Lois, the minister, and she said to me, after she told me not to get Sheila Amder mad at me, she said, so you're not trying to create interfaith dialogue? And I said, no, we're trying to teach people how to talk to each other. And she said, then what you need to do is to create a pamphlet with a statement of the human rights mission, the programs you're anticipating, and solicitation of other ideas or something to that effect, so that people get the big picture of what it is that we want Mansfield to be an inclusive community. We want people to be able to speak to each other about subjects that are difficult, and we would love you to come to one of our programs. So Lois was quite adamant. She said, you've got to tell everybody what the big picture is and what your mission is. So I think that's on my personal agenda, unless anybody's really big on creating pamphlets, in which case you like one of those trifold things, and then probably we won't make many copies because we don't want to make a mess. Anybody love to do that? Or should I just do it in my spare time? You're in, you opened your mouth, Janine, that's it.
I'll help you.
Okay, I'll get to it, and I'll do a draft, and then I'll send it to everybody, and you can tell me what you need to put in it, okay?
If you could send me all the little past several sentences, what you wanted on there and what she wanted on there. If you could send that to me in an email, I can maybe start working.
Give you some
Looking
ideas.
at that.
Because I thought that was a really good idea, because she said, do not redo what Sheila Amder has done. She doesn't like it when that happens. So I said, okay, because I like Sheila Amder and I would like to support her. So we will do this, and we will show the expansive vision.
So if you want to send that to me like in an email, all those little things, I could start playing around with it,
Yeah.
and then you and I could play around with it.
Okay, that's good. And I have lots of pictures and stuff. I mean, we'll have to put the icons and stuff on it, but when you're doing a trifold, you need to fill in space with pictures if you don't have a lot to say. And I have loads of pictures of little black and white children hugging each other and religious symbols and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the last part of that. What's next on the agenda?
member reports.
Member reports. Okay. Now it's a chance for everybody else to say what you've been up to. What have you been up to?
I also had fun in Celebrate Mansfield. Definitely agree with everybody's comments about pride and diversity, inclusivity. And yeah, looking forward to next year. I'm also going to start canvassing with the Mansfield Democrats this coming weekend, so I'm excited to get the word out, not only about you know, the Board of Education, but also about the commission and if they have any questions.
Well, thank you, and I wish you good luck, and I'll vote for you, and I can't do more than that right now, but I think this is great. Having you on the Board of Education would be wonderful. Thank you. Other people, what have other people been doing? Ray said his thing, what you're gonna do tomorrow night. I think I've told you what I've been doing. Janine, anything else from you? You went to the Stearns Farm.
I'm going to be going to the Stearns
to-
Farm, this coming Saturday, I believe. Just doing my own research and, this is only on a personal note, knowing some people who, in lieu of the events that have been occurring, it has opened up conversations with Ravine, who will be 17 this coming Sunday. And technically he can register to vote. You know, he can't vote and he can only vote for certain things. But using that as a platform, as you all know, that he is being homeschooled, you know, with his dad and everything. But I step in there and throw my 2 cents in and everything. And I had said, you know, being a teenager and everything, it's easy to get sucked up into all the different platforms. As Dane knows, I don't do Facebook. I've never done Facebook. It's my choice not to do it because I could care less how many scrambled eggs can be made a certain way by my nephew or people who are, please pray for it. It gets underneath my skin. I think we should just all be out there at any time, you know, always. So with these events and everything, I said, please do not get sucked up into this. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. I said it's just horrible of how this was played out. I said they targeted children, women, babies. I said this stop. I said there's basic human rights. I don't care if you are one way or another. There is the basic human right. So we had a long discussion about that. And he, you know, but this and this and this and this. And I'm like, what is the basic element right there? He's like, human rights. I said, exactly. I said, and it's a very, very difficult fence to sit on because you start teeter-tottering, but this, I said, but you have to stop with the but. No motorboats, no but. It's basic human rights. So, you know, that's what I've been doing, is having more discussions with him. And he's got a pretty decent head on his shoulder. He's still, you know, a young teenager. And then I know a couple of families who were born and raised in Israel, but they have come here and they still have families over there. So I've just been reaching out, just saying, hey, just wanted to say hello and that I'm thinking of you, you know, if there's anything else to do. So that's all I've really been going at, and, you know, Mansfield, so, you know, Celebrate Mansfield, and then working on the school thing. But with these events, I've just been keeping my ears open a little bit more. And I'm kind of glad I'm not in the school system right now, because that would be just a very hot topic, and I'm apt to say anything. It's good, but it's bad. But open conversation.
It's the kind of problem. That's the kind of problem that you could go on forever.
Yes.
And everybody's right and everybody's wrong. And the basic human right is you shouldn't get killed.
Right.
Your right to
Right.
safety.
Right,
Any way
so
you interpret it. And so how do you talk about that? And what does it mean to be safe? And it's really important. It's important to bring it up anytime you have an opportunity. It's a really good thing. We had a 6-year-old in the house this afternoon because her mother's a hospice nurse, and she came to see my mother-in-law. This little kid there from Ghana comes in My mother-in-law has this whole collection of stuffed animals. She goes beeline for the stuffed animals. And then she goes over and starts talking to this 105-year-old person. And while she's standing there, her face is barely at Marilyn's face level. She's having an extended conversation about the animals and how are you? And it's so nice to meet you. And I looked at this kid and I thought, where did you come from? And I'm so glad your mother brought you here. And she was the most beautiful child, just wanting to know what was going on in the world. And I thought, man, how often do you get a chance like this? Just an absolutely adorable kid. So I had a good time this afternoon with a 6-year-old and a bunch of birthday cake, which she really enjoyed. Okay, what else do we have to talk about? I'm whipping up my agenda here so I can look at it. Not much. Have we forgotten anything important? So we have agreed, let me summarize, we have agreed to postpone our story hour to do more conversations with Jen, the Spanish teacher, and I will tell Kelly Young that we are withdrawing our application for their facilities use, and I'll pick up my conversation with the library people again. They've had 2 critical changes of personnel, and so things were a little rough in the fall, but I'm sure they'll be back online very soon. And I think we had a big success with the Welcome Celebrate Mansfield thing, so I think we're in pretty good shape. Any other thoughts?
Have we received any communications?
We have had no communications from anybody. We did have that one person who was wanting to join, but she has a conflicting meeting, and we have a possibility of changing our meeting like from the second Wednesday to the third Wednesday, starting in January, so that maybe she could join if she wanted to. So we'll have to talk about that on a future agenda. And I think that's about all. I haven't heard from Margaret lately, and that's usually where my communications come from. Anything else? Thank you all very much for everything you did. I had a good time, didn't get sick, and looking forward to next year already. And Monica, welcome back. So, can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Janine moves to adjourn. Second, Sabrina seconds. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Good night, all.
Take care.